Welcome, it's Carnage. We are taking a look at G.I. Joe Classified Series Retro Viper today. I went with a pair of these guys because my troop building number is 4 and my retro troop building number is 2. And I already have a pair of these guys also from the 3-pack, including the Viper Officer, and that's these guys back here. Have a more muted red. Fortunately, these retro Vipers have the same as the Cobra Island Vipers. It's not quite as shiny, but it's very much the same red to my eyes. There's a lot of new tooling here, from the boots, the legs, the knees. We have a new belt, we have a new vest, we got new arms, we've got new gauntlets with 2 straps on them this time. Sorry, we went out of focus there. And it looks like the head sculpt is the same, and perhaps one of the few pieces that is reused from that original Viper. This guy really is a vast improvement over the original. You can see, just looking at those guys in the back, their legs are kind of weird. They just have a kind of a weird V shape, and these guys correct that. The legs just really look great. And to me, that was the first really dramatic improvement that I noticed with these retro troopers. I have to say that the guns, although the larger gun is slightly warped, and I'll fix that with a hairdryer, the smaller guns, and really this gray one, once you take off the suppressor there, I feel like the gummy weapon days, fortunately, are finally over. As I mentioned, we have a new vest and a new belt here. The old vest / belt was one piece, and it really impeded the ab crunch. I mean, it just was non-existent, hidden underneath that darn thing. So really glad that they have corrected that. The articulation alone is a vast improvement. I'm still sort of, I guess the jury's out on these gauntlets. They look better. I like how they come out all the way up to the knuckle. The shape is better than the old style gauntlets, which basically were a sleeve. If we look here, it's just a sleeve, and his arm slides in there, where this new style gauntlet has 2 straps. Now, that top strap does get in the way a bit when you are swapping your hands out, and probably when you are posing this guy with guns too. So that's one of the frustrations that I've encountered. I don't know, maybe that sleeve would have worked out a little bit better for these guys on that gauntlet. I don't know. But that's one of the few little complaints that I have. I think he looks much better without the scarf. And as we get a little bit closer here, there is a collar on the vest, which these guys don't have, and that really accommodates that scarf. So you could put one of these scarves on this guy, but it's gonna have some stuff impeding it a little bit. But honestly, that looks pretty good, I think. It really doesn't look bad at all. So, I kind of make these scarves optional with my other Vipers, as you can see here. I was lucky my impatience got the best of me, so I spent a little bit of extra money, ordered my Vipers from overseas back when they first came out, because I was anxious to get that officer. And I wound up getting the correct skin tones, because I think most of the people who ordered theirs in the States, from whatever run that was, ended up getting skin tones that mixed up, and not in a way that you could fix, unfortunately. So, happy to remove the gauntlets and the scars from these guys to show off those matching skin tones. And that, of course, brings me to 8 Vipers, and because I was really tempted to grab 4 of these retro Vipers, and it was really tough not to. So, just going down the line, another improvement is the backpack. This is a backpack that we have seen with Recondo and more recently with Leatherneck. And of course, it makes sense to go all black for the Vipers. This is a vast improvement over that previous Viper backpack, which was big and bulky and heavy. I don't think it was even hollowed out. So almost guaranteed that whoever you were going to put it on couldn't stand up without either a stand or putting something underneath the feet. So I put those in a bag, and they've stayed in a bag, and they're still in that bag. All right, as you can see, he's got the two guns, and these are the two guns that came with these guys as well. So sort of the updated loadout for the Vipers, as well as a pistol. I'm not sure if this is a pistol that we've seen before or not. That I don't know. If you do know, please leave a comment. I wanted to do a little comparison with the retro Cobra Trooper. So let's pull this guy out and take a look at the blues. I don't think they are matched exactly. One has more of a matte finish than the other, and that could be having some effect on how we see those. But I feel like, although I do perceive a little bit of a difference, I do feel like these are pretty well matched. Again, this is the retro Cobra Trooper, and I feel like that color matches these retro Vipers very. I included a shot with some of them together in my photos at the end. And talking about the articulation, as you'll see in my photos, really stellar. They still, although the neck articulation is vastly improved, they still really are not able to look up more than that. I don't know if that's something that we could get in and alter on our own. But just overall with the articulation, I have to say these are smooth as butter. And they just feel better than, honestly, I would say they feel better than any figures that I've had my hands on yet in the classified series. I feel like they've made some really incredible improvements, including the pinless, as we see here. And we also have the Cobra Commander hands, the retro Cobra Commander hands, which I really like. I hope we get some newer designed hands, maybe some slightly larger hands, and some slightly different hand poses would be cool to mix things up a little bit. But getting these alternate hands is big for us photographers, and we hope that Hasbro will continue that. All right, well, that's about all I have to say about the retro Cobra Vipers. A+ from me, really stellar. I've heard some people saying potentially the figure of the year. I think we're going to get inundated with figures here in the next couple of months, so that could change. But so far, I would say yes, very strong contender for that particular honor. Thanks for watching, folks. Hopefully, we'll have some more figures here to talk about in the next couple of days. Dr. Mindbender on the way. Retro Rock and Roll on the way as well. I'm not paying the impatient tax on these. I'm just waiting for Hasbro, or in some cases Amazon. Got these guys from Amazon to deliver the goodies. Thanks for watching, folks. We will see you next time.
Subscribe.